This video is so scary. This is like me if I did true crime. Me if I did true crime, which I'm kind of like low-key doing later in the video. So stay tuned for that. But like this lighting is so scary. I just used my ring light. Like I just like found out how to turn it on and I've had it for like 2 years. And I don't really know like how to set it up for like the best optimal lighting or something. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. And you're just gonna have to like imagine I'm telling you a spooky story and not just Britney Spears' life, key life events and key life stories. So welcome if you're new. I'm Leah. I've dedicated the last like couple weeks of my life to this. It's consumed my brain. All I can think of, all I can dream about, all I can talk about is just Britney Spears all the time, which I'm not complaining about. But like every time I'm in a conversation with someone and like they say something, I just bring it, like I just like relate it in my mind to Britney Spears. And that's just like the kind of gal I am today, you know? After so much research, I have compiled it all of Britney Spears' key life events, you know, like who she's dating, where she's performing, what year is it, you know, all of these things, how she got to stardom, and then where she is now, how people are responding to her now, is sort of what the vibe of this video is going to be. So stay tuned. I'm glad that you guys are here. Essentially, how this is going to work is I have made, everything is pink. Everything is pink. Ooh, pink, pink. The presentation is pink. Do I have any other pink things? I'm gonna use this pink hanger as like a pointer because I lost my I put contacts in and it was my last left contact because my eyes have different prescriptions. Sorry, you guys don't care about this, but basically my left eye contact fell out, so I had to put my right eye prescription contact in my left eye, so I'm kind of half blind right now. I can't really see out of my left eye because the prescription's not strong enough. I also just remember that I had these glasses. Should I wear them? Kind of funky slay. Okay, so how this is gonna work is I have made about 160 slides on Google Slides so that you guys can follow along, because I know that with long videos like this, like I constantly get like distracted and then I zone out and then I like miss something important. So if you guys are like that, check the description for this like really nice Google Slides presentation that's Burn Book by Mean Girls. Burn Book by Mean Girls. Okay. This like burn book from Mean Girls themed PowerPoint. I just really find any excuse to use Google Slides. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I love making a good presentation. So go click on that, and also like anytime I talk about something specific, I'll put like the video link in the Google Slides presentation or like something like that so that it's all like compiled into one, so that I don't have to like remember to put it in the description. And I also am worried that I'm gonna get copyright on this video because like Britney Spears is like crazy, you know, she's so many like paparazzi things. Like I'll put pictures and stuff in the video, but if you want like more of a visual, then I suggest going to look at the Slides Go presentation that I've linked in the description for you guys. And I've kind of compiled this video and have split it up into years. So like, you know, 1997, like when she gets her first like record deal, right? Or like 2007 when she has her breakdown, like things like that. So we're gonna go by year because I think that that's the easiest way to do it, because Britney Spears has done so much in her life and so many things have happened to her that it just like makes more sense to obviously like put it all in chronological order. Like this is like not new at all. Like I'm like acting as if this is some like revolutionary like discovery that I've come across. It's really not. I just like I'm letting you guys know that we're gonna be splitting it up into years. Also, in Britney Spears' life, again, so many things happened to her, so many like life events have conspired. I love these glasses so much. I've never worn them. Ooh. And I think that there are three sort of images that can sort of like relay the emotions that I felt when I was filming, or not filming, but like writing the script and like writing the presentation for this too. So basically we have my friend Britney Mannequin Spears here. Mannequin Spears. Men. There's no joke that I can make. I was like gonna try to make like a funny like play on words joke, but it's just not gonna work. Basically, in Britney's life, I either felt angry. This is a picture of Britney screaming at paparazzi. This is so me. So either angry, and then we got this really scary picture of Britney Spears, actually. It's like her like on stage, but basically this is like the slay eras of Britney Spears. So we're gonna like put them here. So this is like when Britney Spears is like slaying and like we're all happy and like rooting for her, right? And then we have this picture that is disgusted Britney Spears. So basically when we enter in a certain year or like a certain era or something happens, we're gonna switch the photos on the mannequin to just sort of like relay what I think we're all feeling. One more thing is that if you're a hater of Britney Spears, I suggest you either stop watching or you like just keep your opinions to yourself maybe, because I am 18 years old and I'm a child. Actually, I'm not technically not a child, but like, you know what I mean? And I love Britney Spears so much, and I just don't want any like negativity in the comments because she's dealt with enough in her life. You know what I'm saying? At the beginning of every year, if I remember, I'll say Britney's age. But the thing is that Britney Spears was born in 1981 of December. So basically when we start a new year, like for example, when I say like in 1999, Britney's 17 years old, it's like she's turning 18 that year. But since she's born in December, it makes more sense for me to just say that she's 17 because she's 17 for most of the year in 1999, right? Even though, like, is that the year that I said? You know what I mean? So it's like, just trust me when I say her age, okay? Because then it's like she turns the next age in December, but it's like, you know what I mean, I think. So just letting you know, I know when Britney Spears was born, I know that she's turning like fucking 29 at the end of the year. So I should say she's 29, but she's not. She's 28 when shit happens, you know what I'm saying? And then also, before we begin, I would like to thank Mike's Mike for pretty much being the inspiration for me to make like a long video like this, because I really like long video essays, and I love Mike's videos on like Pretty Little Liars and Glee. And like ever since I watched those videos, I've been like, oh my god, I want to make like a long YouTube video like this on a certain subject. So I just want to thank him. I love his videos. Slay to him. So love you, Mike's Mike. Thank you. So that's sort of how this video is gonna work. So open up the presentation, get a snack, get a nice coffee. I got a nice Starbucks cold brew, and let's learn about all of the key life events of Britney Spears, shall we? Are you guys ready? I'm fucking ready. I feel electric right now. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to share all of this with you guys. Oh my god. Okay, so we start in the beautiful year of 1981, December 2nd at 1:30 a.m. in Macomb, Mississippi. The world is good again because Britney Jean Spears is born. Britney Jean Spears is born to her parents, Jamie Parnell Spears, who we hate and despise and are disgusted by, and we don't like him, and Lynn Spears, who we also don't like, but she's like low-key like not really in this much, so we can just forget about her. She's like kind of irrelevant. She has an older brother, Brian, and a younger brother, Jamie Lynn Spears. So Jamie is her dad, but also her sister. When we refer to her sister, I'll call her Jamie Lynn Spears, and then when I say her dad, I'll just call him Jamie. And fun fact too, Brian was a TV producer, and he produced Zoe 101, which Jamie Lynn Spears starred in. So there's a little fun fact for you guys. So the world is good again because Britney Spears is born, and she's always been a performer. So around age 3, that's when she started dance lessons, and she got a solo at the annual dance recital on her first year performing. So that just shows you the impact that she's about to have. And with that being said, Britney is in her slaying era already at age 3. So good for her. Good for her. And then around age 5, she had her first singing debut, singing What Child Is This at her kindergarten graduation. And I had never heard of this song, so when I was doing this presentation, I was like looking it up and like writing the script, whatever, I was looking it up. And I found out that Josh Groban covered this song, and I just thought that was funny. So there's a little fun fact for you guys, is that Josh Groban covered the same song that Britney Spears debuted with in kindergarten. So there you go. So throughout Britney Spears' childhood, she just won many like singing and dancing competitions because she was just like a naturally talented performer. And she said that she knew from a young age that she wanted to do that as a career. Like she wanted to like get out there, and she loved performing. She loved being in front of people and like, you know, showing off her fun little dance moves and singing her little songs. So she knew that she wanted to do that from a very young age. And then in 1989, She auditioned for Mickey Mouse Club, but was rejected because she was too young. So at this time, she's 8 years old. So she was too young. She didn't get into the thing. But there was a talent agent at that audition, and the talent agent told Lynn Spears, Britney's mom, that Britney should enroll in the Professional Performing Arts School in New York City. So she moved to New York City and she enrolled in the school. So at the school, like, they kind of like help the students get like roles and stuff because it's for like people who want to be like performers in New York City, so like children. So she got an understudy role in Ruthless, the musical on Broadway. And she was also in many commercials in this time. So from 1989 until 1991, she was just like in lots of commercials, like doing these like performing arts school. She was an understudy in Ruthless, etc. And then in 1992, she was cast in the Mickey Mouse Club. She auditioned again. She was cast alongside Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. What a trio. What a trio, I say, you know? That's just like so cute, and I love that. And then after a couple years, in 1994, I think, the show was canceled, so she moved back home to Mississippi, but she sort of like missed being like on stage. She missed like performing. Like, she didn't want to just do like little performances like in Macomb, Mississippi. Like, she wanted to like be on the big stage. So then in 1997, okay, Britney is 15 at this point. Remember that. She's 15 years old. Her mom, Lynn, brings her to New York City to audition for 3 record labels. The first one was Epic Records. The vice president, Michael Kaplan, says her complexion wasn't great. Her voice wasn't great, so we passed. And this is what Michael Kaplan looks like. I'll just like put it right here. Like, her complexion wasn't great, her voice wasn't great, so we passed. It's interesting. So we're gonna move on. And then she auditioned at Mercury Records, but they also passed. And then the last one, you know, Britney's like, this is the one, this has to be the one. It's the last out of the 3 that I have auditions for, like, this is my chance, right? And it was Jive Records. It's now or never, you know, Jive Records. Most of the people there didn't like her audition, but an executive, Steve Lunt, found promise in her, and he said it was in the wrong key because she was trying to sound like Toni Braxton, so it was too low. Because, you know, like, Britney, like, she has kind of like a higher, like, voice, or like higher singing voice. So he was like, oh, but like when she went up, he said there was a girlish quality that was appealing. A girlish quality that was appealing. Okay. It gets worse from there, you guys. It gets worse. So just strap in and just listen, okay? Lunt also said that Britney was wearing a mid-thigh sundress and sang a Whitney Houston song. When she sang, her eyes rolled back in her head. Steve said it was a sexy eye roll. She was 15. That is a child. Why do you remember what she was? A mid-thigh sundress. Wow. Okay. Jail, jail, jail. And then later it was revealed that her eyes rolled back in her head because she was really nervous for her audition. So that was just like a stress thing. But this is how that makes me feel. It makes me feel disgusted. It makes me feel repulsed. And this is just the first instance of people being absolutely disgusting to Britney Spears. So this is how that makes me feel. Let's let that sink in for a moment. And we're gonna just move on. So after that, Jive Records signs with Britney Spears with a get out clause, which basically means that they can drop her within 90 days if they don't like what she's giving them. In the very beginning of her career, Jive Records thought that Britney would act as the American version of Robin, who was a Swedish teen pop star. Britney said she liked Robin's music, but the music videos were boring since no one was dancing and they're in black and white. She said, if it were me, I'd be wearing a miniskirt and dancing. And that's just so me. You know, that is just so me. Britney Spears gets me. Like, I feel like if I was like sitting across from Britney Spears, like, she would just like get me. Like, if it were me, I'd be wearing a miniskirt and dancing. Like, yes, I'm gonna change this. That is like such a slay quote. And I think I'm gonna like actually use that in my mind from now on. Like, whenever I'm like, oh, I'd do that, but like in a miniskirt, and it would just be better than you know? Like, I just love that mentality, and I think that is amazing, and I love Britney Spears for that. So, Robin actually ended up turning down an opportunity to sing a song, Hit Me Baby, which was written by a Swedish songwriter and producer that was then tweaked into Baby One More Time, which is basically the song that like popped Britney off and made her like a really famous celebrity. So thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin, for not wanting to do that song, because then we got Baby One More Time. Britney recorded Hit Me Baby and everyone at Jive loved it, and everyone knew the media would eat her up, and they did. They really, really did. She said to a video director while making the Baby One More Time music video, "Let's do a video where I'm a girl in school looking at hot boys. Let's do this video where I'm just in a room and a bunch of hot boys are looking at me, look at pictures of Britney Spears and talk about Britney Spears. How about?" She gets me. She just gets me, you know? I love Britney Spears so much. One of the hot boys in the video in question, who played Britney's love interest in the Baby One More Time music video, was actually her cousin Chad Spears, which is a little weird, but it's also like fine because they don't like touch or anything. Like it's just like they just like look, like Britney just like looks at him from like afar on the bleachers. So it's like, it's not that weird, but it's just like a little like weird fact that I found that it was actually her cousin. And I don't know, there's just a little fact for you guys. Here's a couple fun facts about the video. Originally, the directors wanted to make the video animated and have like a Power Rangers like theme kind of going on, and Britney Spears was like, absolutely not, that is horrible. And then she came up with the idea to have like a Catholic school kind of vibe. Fun fact, I was so close to being Britney Spears for Halloween, and then I couldn't find like a gray cardigan for the outfit, and then I like freaked out and I was like, I can't even be Britney Spears because I needed the gray cardigan to do that, to like do a good job. So I think this year on Halloween I'm gonna be Britney Spears and have that era, and I'm gonna search so hard to find a plain gray cardigan because I couldn't find any of them last year, and I want to be Britney Spears so bad. But slay for Britney for standing up for herself. Like in her early stages of her career, like you can just tell like she is like a girl boss. Like she wants what she wants, she knows what she wants, she's just good at like being herself, and like it's really, really good, and like her performances pay off for sure. Another fun fact is that in an interview with Rolling Stone, she said that Tainted Love was a big inspiration for the sound of Baby One More Time, which makes sense because Tainted Love is kind of like raspier, like low, and that was like sort of the vibe Britney wanted. And she said that she stayed up all night the night before and didn't get any rest, which helped her because then her voice was like not like up to par, but she kind of like wanted that vibe. So good for her. The video was also shot in the same school as Grease, and it sold 500,000 copies the day that it was released. The song still remains Britney's longest charting single, which spent 32 weeks on the Hot 100, and she was 16 when this was released in 1998. She was chic. Oh my god, dude. Jesus Christ, that was crazy. So she was 16 when this was released in 1998, and it sold 500,000 copies the day that it was released. So she basically became like a crazy like pop star like overnight when it was released, because like everyone was like, oh my god, who's this like new hot girl who's 16 years old and like fresh, you know, like kind of like a new like voice sort of vibe. So then 2 months later, okay, so this song was released in November of 1998. So now it's 2 months later in January. Britney is 17, okay? She turned 17 in December, but it's the next year, January, so she's 17 years old. January 12th, Britney releases the album Baby One More Time. And Rolling Stone magazine says it's an alien apocalyptic robot disco stomp of Britney, which is just iconic. Like, that is an amazing way to describe it, and that makes me like slay. Like, I want to be described as an alien apocalyptic robot stomp. Like, that is just amazing choice of words. Thank you, Rolling Stone, for bringing that to my attention, and I love that. It did very well in terms of sales, the overall album, but it had a lot of mixed reviews from critics saying it was silly and premature. And it's like, okay, obviously like she's 16 years old, she's not gonna like make some sort of like crazy like deep meaning like, you know, art of like music, you know, like she's 16 years old, she wants to be a pop star, she wants to like talk about how hot she is and how like amazing her life is. Like, I love that. But then critics are like, oh, it's like silly and premature. It's like, yeah, obviously, because it's like meant for that kind of like audience. So I just thought that that was kind of weird, but like it got mixed reviews from music critics. So the big guys, I guess, didn't really like it. For this album, she did get a nomination for Best New Artist at the Grammys in 2000, but she didn't end up winning. Some highlights from this album is Sometimes I cry, sometimes I hide. Actually, fun fact about that song is that my mom in the year 2000 auditioned for Canadian Idol, and she sang Sometimes by Britney Spears. And I just love that for her. She made it past the first set of auditions, and then the second one she didn't make past, and then after you make past the second one, then you're on TV. So she didn't make it past the second one, but slated my mom for singing Sometimes by Britney Spears. I love that for her. And then we also get Soda Pop, which is another one of my favorites, From the Bottom of My Broken Heart, and You Drive Me Crazy, I Just Can't See, I'm so excited, I'm in too deep. And it topped the charts in 15 countries. So when I was writing the song, or like when I was writing the song, yeah, when I was writing You Drive Me Crazy, I was actually co-writer of that song, if you guys didn't know. But basically, when I was like writing the script and like the presentation stuff for this video, I was listening to Britney Spears' entire discography, and I listened to You Drive Me Crazy, I wrote 17 times. And the time that it wrote, because it just like kept replaying. You Drive Me Crazy is like always one of the first ones that plays. And then later that year, in 1999, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears confirmed that they were dating. We're going to get into this a bit later, so we're just gonna ignore that for now. But long story short is, fuck Justin Timberlake. But again, we're just gonna get into that in a little bit, so just stay tuned for that. So this album, Baby One More Time, basically popped Britney off, and she went on headlining her first tour in North America. She went on tour a couple years prior, like basically when she was first starting out in 1997, and she opened for NSYNC, which is basically like how her and Justin Timberlake like spent more time together, because they were on Mickey Mouse Club, but like that was when they were kids. And then she opened for NSYNC when they went on tour in like 1997, I think, in like 1997, 1998. But this was her first time headlining, so she went on her first headline tour in North America from June 1999 until April 2000, and she basically designed the entire tour herself, including the costumes, which is iconic and crazy, because basically, we'll get, again, more into this in a little bit, but Britney Spears' concerts were crazy. Like, she always did, like, crazy stuff and, like, crazy, like, visuals. She had awesome fashion, and, like, she's a fashion icon for me, definitely. Like, she would eat this, like, look up. I just know she would. You know, and like that's why I'm wearing it, because like I love Britney Spears and I need her to like love me back and reciprocate the love that I have for her. Basically, that's how it is. So she goes on headlining her first tour and blah, 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 whatever. So that was 1999. Now we're in the year 2000. Britney's 18 years old. So she starts recording her second album while she was on tour. She was like ahead of her time with work, bitch. You know, she didn't write it yet, but it was like, she was working, bitch. You know, she was a working girl. The thought of like recording another album while you're already on tour is crazy. Like, she was booked and busy, and that is iconic, and that is slay, and that's why I have the slay picture up still. So her second album was released April 11th, 2000, and it was Oops, I Did It Again. Another iconic album. I think that that's probably my second favorite album of Britney Spears. It's so good. And it actually held the record for fastest selling album by a female artist, and had the largest first week sales for a female album, with 1.3 million copies sold in the first week. So she held that record until 2015 when Adele surpassed it, which is so iconic. Like, she held that record for like a good 15 years, and good for Britney Spears. This album was so good. It was one of the best selling albums of all time, and there's so many hits like Stronger Than Yesterday, I Stronger. And they covered that song on Glee, and it was so good. So there's Stronger on that album. We also get Dear Diary, and we also get Lucky, which are some of my favorite Britney. Oh my god, this is like crazy. Because I'm like, I've never been this like excited. Okay, moving on. So she finished her first tour in April, then released her album, and then in June she gets like a week off, and then from June 20th to November 21st she goes back on tour for Oops, I Did It Again. Like, again, she's booked and busy. She does not play around. She does not have any free time. It's just, like, crazy. Like, I don't even know, like, how you would have the energy. I guess, like, she was 18, but, like, imagining me doing all this shit, I'm like, I cannot, like, I barely had the energy to, like, finish scripting this video, and, like, that was, like, enough work for me for, like, the day, you know? And then I, like, got some burst of energy, and I was like, let me just record the whole video now. So it's just crazy. I just, like, think that I would go into cardiac arrest if I was doing all this, so good for Britney. And then this was also a North American and Europe tour. So first she just went to North America, and now she's going to North America and Europe to do shows. And then in September 2000, Britney performs at the MTV Music Awards, and we get an iconic pop culture moment where Britney Spears wears a black suit and then she rips it off and it reveals like a sequin, like nude bodysuit, and then she goes into this like crazy dance routine. The video link is in the slideshow presentation, so go watch that video and then come back to my video, or you can watch it after or something. But it was crazy, and the chokehold that this performance had on me when I was a kid, I wasn't born yet, but like when I was a kid and I like went through a Britney Spears phase and I was like looking at all her videos, like this was like a moment for me. And it got mixed, like it kind of made a lot of like parents not want their kids to like look at Britney Spears as like a role model almost, because she was like more provocative with her performances. But I say slay, and like it doesn't really matter, like it didn't have like a long like effect on her. And this is like all according to Britney Spears fan forum, so it's just like fans of Britney Spears being like, oh yeah, my parents like didn't want me to like, you know, like watch like Britney Spears or something. But it didn't really have like much harm to her career, so whatever. I just thought that was interesting. And she was also 18 when she did that performance, which is crazy. Like she was such a good dancer too. Like she was like so talented at dancing. Like even in her music videos, like her Baby One More Time music video, I'm just like, she just slays. Like she does not play around. So then in her 2000 Rolling Stone profile, it's revealed that Britney had 1 hour of scheduled quiet time to herself, which is so me, but also like only 1 hour. I think I would need like 5, but that's just me. So good for Britney Spears for like setting boundaries, but also like it's crazy how she only got 1 hour. Okay, and then also in 2000 she hosted and performed on SNL, and it was so funny. She like did really good. Now we're in 2001. Okay, Britney's 19 years old. See, I'm like so like energetic. I'm so like ready to like talk to you guys about Britney Spears because I've been working on this for so long, and like Britney Spears is all in my brain, and I'm just like so excited to like, I don't even care if like no one watches this, because like I'm gonna rewatch it all the time just because I like love watching myself, and I love like looking at myself all the time, and especially since this video is gonna be like super long, like an hour or two, it's just more content that I can watch. So in 2001, Britney's 19 years old, and although I'm not a fan of Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears as a couple, just because of the aftermath of their relationship, which we'll get into 2002, in January, she went to the AMAs and they slayed with this matching like denim look. Like, I would say it was like one of the most iconic red carpet looks, dare I say. It was so good, so cute, I love it. And it's just like iconic photo. And then later that month in January, she performed at the 2001 halftime Super Bowl show with headliners Aerosmith and NSYNC, and also featured Mary J. Blige and Nelly. What I would give to go to that concert. Like, this is just like how I feel. Like, that is an amazing lineup. And I watched the Super Bowl halftime show from 2001, and it was so good. This is important. In February, Britney signs an $8 million contract with Pepsi. Okay, this is important. This is important, so you guys have to remember this. Remember this. That's crazy. Okay, I'm never gonna go straight up to the camera again. But just remember, okay, Britney's a Pepsi girl. She's a Pepsi girl. In September, she performs at the MTV Music Video Awards again and gave the most iconic performance in the world, I'm a Slave for You. And it was the one where she had like the white python wrapped around her neck, and like it was like jungle, and like there was a live tiger behind her. Imagine if I had that, like just like right here, there was just like a live tiger in a cage. Like, what would you guys do? Like, me and just a tiger. Like, that would be really awesome. And like the dancers were like all wearing like zebra, and like it was just such a good performance. Ah, it was so good. And the performance was so good. But then PETA criticized it, saying that the animals were mistreated. But it, like, the claims never really went anywhere. Like, no one really, like, confirmed nor denied it. So, we live, we learn, and we forget. In November 2001, she released her third album, Britney. And she was kind of inspired by, like, hip-hop, like, sort of sound. Like, she wanted, like, a funkier record for this album, because she was inspired by hip-hop artists like Jay-Z and Nelly. So, this is the album that I'm a Slave for You was on. Definitely such a slay hit. And the album overall was, like, really good, and I really liked the vibe of it. And it was a top 10 hit worldwide. I'm a Slave for You was a top 10 hit worldwide when it came out. In November, she began the Dream Within a Dream tour, went to Asia and North America, and it was from November 2001 to July 2002. And this tour was praised for their technical innovations. Like, it was just crazy. Like, go into the Google Size presentation, look at the pictures if you're following along. Like, you can see. It's just crazy. Like, I think that we should take a minute to just appreciate, like, how fun and how, like, new Britney's performances was. Like, you know, she gave the one where she, like, rips off the suit and then it's, like, something else, so she gives, like, a reveal. And then her next performance, she does, like, a jungle theme, like, with, like, live animals and, like, a snake. Like, that was just so cool. And then I also saw this video, but I didn't save the link, and I also can't find it now. And she was, like, on, like, a wheel, and it was, like, spinning her. Like, it was really cool. Like, let me know if you guys find that video, because I literally can't find it anywhere. And then, okay, this is so embarrassing. When I was looking for, like, concert pictures and, like, cool, like, things that Britney Spears did, like, while she was on tour, I found this Tumblr post by an @Britney Inventions on Tumblr, and it was this picture. It was this picture. I put it in the Google Slides presentation too, but they said the caption was, Britney Spears invented hologram technology in 2001 to create a giant 3D projection of herself. Britney Spears invented hologram technology in 2001 to create a giant 3D projection for herself for her Dream Within a Dream tour. This invention won Spears the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2002. And, like, obviously, like, that picture's not real. I couldn't even find, like, a picture of, like, a hologram from Britney Spears' concert. But basically, when I first read that, I didn't know that it was a Tumblr post. I just thought that it was, like, an article. And I was like, oh my god, Britney Spears. I was like, oh my god, Britney Spears invented hologram technology. How did I not know this? How did I not come across this when I was, like, doing my research for the videos? And I just think that that's so funny. Like, I'm so gullible, and, like, I just believe anything that I read. And so then, like, as I thought about it more, I was like, obviously Britney Spears didn't win a fucking Nobel Prize. Like, and hologram technology was invented in, like, 1948 or something. I just thought that that was funny, and just, like, a little insight about me as a person, and how gullible and how stupid I'm just such a dumb blonde sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes we all are, and we just have to acknowledge, and we just have to live and learn and forget, you know? Like, just imagine if that was real, though. Like, if Britney Spears really did win a Nobel Prize and she's just, like, a scientist while also being, like, the biggest pop star in the world, like, that's, like, crazy. And that's also why I believed it. I was like, Britney Spears is capable of that. So, shout out to whoever invented hologram technology. On this tour, her signature performance was dancing while 2 tons of water poured on stage. And I think that, like, set some sort of record too. I forgot, like, where I saw that, but I think, like, I don't know, something like that happened. But yeah, so she had this, like, she's, like, dancing while it was, like, raining water, and that was, like, one of her signature performances. So just another example of how amazing and innovative these performances were. So now we're into 2002. Britney is 20 years old, okay? Britney's on tour. She was ranked the world's most powerful celebrity in 2002 as well, which is amazing. Good for her. Britney also acted in Austin Powers' Goldmember in 2002, and she got blown up in the movie because she played a villain. So it was like, that was, like, how they defeated her, was, like, blowing her up or something. And then when she's, like, laying down, they tried to do this, like, overhead shot of her, and a camera fell on her, and she had to get 4 stitches. That's just, like, an interesting little fact for you. And then she also stars in this movie Crossroads in 2002, which is such a cute movie. Like, it's just, like, I love, like, early 2000s movies. Like, they're just such, like, sleepover movies, you know? Like, yeah, okay, obviously it's not, like, a feature film, or, like, it didn't win, like, any Oscars or anything, but, like, why does film have to be so serious all the time, you know? This movie's so cute. It's just, like, about, like, a bunch of friends, and they, like, go on a road trip after they graduate or something, and then they, like, meet this guy, and, like, they think he's, like, a killer, and then it's just like a cute little, like, you know, like, coming of age, like, just like a fun little, like, cute movie, and I love it. So if you can, go watch Crossroads featuring Britney Spears. Buckle up, get strapped in, because we're about to enter in a different sort of era. So in 2002, her and Justin Timberlake break up. Are we happy they broke up? Yes, because I did not like them together. However, the aftermath of this breakup was very messy. It was very, very, very messy. So basically what happened was in November 2002, Justin Timberlake comes out with a song, Cry Me a River, and then rumors of Britney being unfaithful to him came out, because that was, like, kind of what the song was about, like, getting cheated on, like, you know? Britney denied those claims, but, like, everyone was like, okay, well, obviously you're not going to admit to, like, cheating on him or something. And then that same year, Fred Durst from rap group Limp Bizkit said he was in a relationship with Britney, but she ended up denying those claims. And then he said something about like, oh, it's like taboo for like a girl like that to be with a guy like me. Like, oh, like, bleh. So that was my impression of Fred Durst. What song? Fred Durst is in someone's song. Oh, it's Eminem. Oh, it's Slim Shady. Sit next to, wait, Christina Aguilera better switch me chest so I can sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst. Hear him argue over who she gave. Okay, we're gonna move on from that. I'm also an Eminem stan. As we are a Britney Spears stan, we're also an Eminem stan, which is something that is a little bit crazy of me. I am way more of a Britney stan. I'm a Britney spaniel. Whatever. Okay, wow. Okay, let's move on. So, as we get into 2003, let's just take a second to sort of digest like the breakup aftermath of Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, because it's very messy, like I said before, and there's lots to like, you know, so I'm just gonna like spew it all at you guys because most of it happened in 2003. So at the beginning of 2003, right, she's 21. Britney Spears is 21. When they broke up, she was 20 because it was the year prior. She turned 21 in December, and then now we're in 2003. So they started dating when she was 18 and he was 19, because basically, like, they're both born in 1981, but Justin Timberlake was born in January and Britney Spears was born in December of 1981. So they're born in the same year, but Justin Timberlake is basically like a year older than her just because it's like a month difference. Like, it's like, you know, but anyway, so she's 18, he's 19 when they started dating. When they broke up, in an interview with Grazia Mag, she said she couldn't even speak following the breakup. So it's very messy. She's very heartbroken and she couldn't even speak. Like, she couldn't, you know, do anything. Like, she kind of like fell into like a little bit of a depression from it. And that also makes sense because, I mean, like, as we'll see before, like, the media just loves to hate on Britney Spears so much, you know? So it's also like that mixed with the fact that like her and her boyfriend, who she thought she loved, like, or who she did love, broke up. It's like, you know. So Britney Spears, heartbroken after the breakup with her and JT. So you might be thinking, oh, like, I'm sure she had so much support from her friends, from her family. I wonder what her dad, crusty Jamie Spears, did. Maybe like support his daughter or like help her through the breakup like most parents do. Support her, give her love. What does Jamie Spears do? He brings Diane Sawyer and forced Britney to do an interview about it because like everyone was like kept asking like, oh, Britney, like talk about the breakup, whatever. So Jamie Spears, Britney Spears' dad, brings in an interviewer to interview his daughter like months after they broke up, or like weeks, I think, actually. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, that's just like crazy fucked up, and that's just like part one about the shitty things that Jamie Spears has done to Britney. So this interview is very hard to watch. Like, I'm not gonna put it in the video because I feel like I'll get copywritten, but go into the slides presentation and look at the video because it's very hard to watch. Like, I couldn't even watch the whole thing. But basically, like, Diane Sawyer just asks her like so many like invasive and intrusive questions, and then also makes Britney cry at one point. Like, you can just tell that she doesn't want to be there. Like, she's just kind of like trying to be nice, but it's like, it's really sad actually. Diane says, "You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do?" Which is super fucked up because, like, yeah, okay, if Britney Spears cheated on Justin Timberlake, okay, that's fucked up and like that's not good. But at the same time, like, you don't know what's real and what's fake. And, like, maybe something else happened, like, we don't know. And so just to, like, shame Britney Spears and be like, oh, all this blame is on you because Justin Timberlake is, like, he's broken now because of you. It's just kind of, like, really annoying. And because of that, I'm going to put this disgusted image onto the mannequin. Because it's just kind of like, why would you say that, you know? Like, I feel so bad for Britney when I watch this interview. Like, it's really hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. So yeah, Britney denied the rumors that she cheated, so we don't really know what happened, so it's kind of messed up to blame her. And then Diane Sawyer also brings up a rumored shopping addiction that Britney has, so she basically just, like, attacks her the entire time. It's like, you're doing this, like, this is bad, you're a whore, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of messed up, so I'm so sorry, Britney. If you're watching this, I love you, Britney Spears, and I support you, and I love you, and I'm on your side. Another aspect to this whole messy breakup is that there are so many instances where either Justin Timberlake or Britney Spears would be asked if they had sex, and that's just so weird. Like, the media just like loved to like pry and be like, did you hook up? Did you have sex? Did you hook up? Blah, blah, blah. Just so that they could like have a juicy story, you know? Because Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears have both like come out and said that like they're waiting till marriage to like, you know, do anything. And that makes sense because then it like sort of gets the media off their backs. Whether or not that's true, it doesn't matter. But the media like hates to like have a boring story. So like there's just so many instances where like they were both like asked that question. And then in an interview with Ellen asks Justin Timberlake if Britney's waiting till marriage, and then Justin Timberlake is like, sure, you know, kind of like being like as if, you know, which is like kind of messed up and also just fucked up to Britney Spears, you know? And then like according to Wikipedia, in an interview, I couldn't find out what the interview was, but according to Wikipedia, there's an interview where a DJ asks Justin Timberlake if he fucked Britney Spears, and then Justin Timberlake responds, okay, I did. And it's just like, that is just crazy because obviously like you don't want that to come out because it's like, I mean, this is like 2002, 2003-ish. That was like a time where like you didn't really talk about like sex, you know, like now it's like normal, like whatever. It's not like a really taboo subject, but back then it was. And so like for people to like label Britney Spears as a whore just like from her performances being provocative, like that's one thing. But then now like people were starting to like turn on her and call her a whore because she like had sex with Justin Timberlake and she's not an innocent girl that we all knew and loved. And it's just like, shut up, you know? And that's also so weird for the paparazzi to constantly ask questions like that. Like, imagine the Hollywood Fix guy asked like Millie Bobby Brown or something if she like fucked her boyfriend. And it's like, why does that matter at all? Why do you think about that? Like, that's so weird. And I feel so bad for Britney Spears because it was like low-key detrimental to not only her mental health, but like her career as well. So fuck Justin Timberlake for that. And so like, this brings us to like another part of the video where like we're just gonna take a break to acknowledge how shitty and horrible the media is to Britney Spears. Like, even when I was doing this video research, like there's so many instances where Britney Spears like media propaganda is out there. Like, so many articles I came across and I was like, this is just like so biased and so clearly anti-Britney Spears. It's like kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, like it was like, oh my god, like I think I would die if someone said this to me. And so I just feel really bad for her, and I'm like really disgusted and angry for her about that. So it's just like really annoying. And then just an example of how like disgusting reporters are to her. When Britney was 17, aka a minor, aka a child, aka, you know, not of age, she went on this interview with Ivo Niehi, who's like a Dutch reporter, I think. And he asked about her breasts. Like, he was like trying to like talk to her about it, being like, oh, like would you ever get implants, or like just talk about her breasts in general. And I'm like, oh my god, that is a child, and you're like a gross, disgusting like 50-year-old man, probably. I don't know how old he was, but like regardless, doesn't matter. And like it's just like so hard to watch because she's obviously like deflecting and being like, oh wow, I like really don't want to talk about this right now, but he just like doesn't give a fuck and like keeps trying to pry out of her. And then he says, you seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject. Yeah, obviously. So there's just plenty of instances where like the media loves to knock on Britney Spears and like talk like about like her appearance and like just so like gross stuff, and I just like hate it. It's so sad. Besides all this drama with stupid idiot little idiot Justin Timberlake, who we hate, we get some other like iconic moments of 2003, and we're gonna move on to that. First of all, we get the iconic Pepsi's Pepsi video, like this I'll just play it.
Candidly, just between you and me, how much Pepsi do you think you drink on an average day?
I really do like Pepsi.
Really? What's your favorite kind?
I really do. My favorite kind of Pepsi's Pepsi.
Well, you don't drink Diet Pepsi or
no,
Pepsi
just regular Pepsi.
And then again, remember Britney is a Pepsi girl. This will come in handy later. Remember that she is a Pepsi girl. We also, in August 2003, we get the iconic Britney Spears and Madonna kiss, which is arguably like probably the most iconic. I keep saying the word iconic, but it's just like that, just like how I describe Britney Spears. So I'm gonna change this back to slay Britney Spears. Because I just think that that's just like the most talked about like event at like an award show, besides maybe like that stupid like Will Smith, Chris Rock, whatever slap. But I'm gonna say that Britney Spears Madonna kiss is more iconic than that, just because it's like slay. It's kind of weird though, because Britney Spears was 21 when this kiss happened, and Madonna was 45, I think. Yeah, she was 45, which is kind of weird, but like also, are we surprised? Like Madonna just really loves kissing people who are way younger than her. Like Drake, do you guys remember that? Like, so, but hey, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Sorry, Madonna, if you're watching this, I still love you, Madonna, but just a little weird. But that kiss was just like, so like, you know, so I will let it slide. So in November 2003, Britney releases In the Zone, which is her 4th album, and we get classics like Me Against the Music, and we also get Toxic. And I would also say that this is probably one of the most recognizable like Britney Spears album covers, just in my opinion. Like whenever I think of like Britney Spears music, I think of like the Toxic album cover, I think of In the Zone. But that's just me. Like, I don't know, let me know what you guys think is like the most like recognizable Britney Spears cover. In my opinion, it's In the Zone. Toxic won Britney her first Grammy for Best Dance Recording the next year. So good for her. So 2004, Britney is 22. 2004 is a big year for a couple of reasons. One of them, I was born. So just let that sink in for a second. Was that I was born 2004. But more importantly, Britney Spears is married. She's married. In January, she gets married to her childhood friend, Jason Alexander, and they get married in Vegas. It's like a little bit of shotgun wedding, kind of like you get drunk in Vegas and get married to someone vibes. She was married for 55 hours before getting an annulment, which is just like funny, like queen for that. Also queen for dodging a bullet though, because in like 2015, I think, Jason Alexander got arrested for like a domestic violence incident, so he's kind of a terrible person. But he is a recurring character, so just like keep him like tucked away in your little brain for a second, okay? Jason said that even though their marriage might have been a mistake, he believed they were truly in love, but you know, yeah, I think you might just be saying that. But in March, she went on an Onyx Hotel tour for In the Zone, but in June, Britney fell while filming for the video for Outrageous and injured her left knee, and she had to get surgery, so the tour was canceled early. So it's just like kind of crazy too, like just like the grind of like being a musical artist. Like you just record your album, you release your album, you go on tour, you record, release, go on tour, you know? It's just like rinse and repeat. I just like, I don't know. I think that's interesting. Like good for people who are like on the grind like that. Like that's awesome. But yes, she had to cancel the tour early. And then in July, Love is in the Air again, allegedly, and Britney gets engaged to dancer Kevin Federline, who she had met 3 months prior. And he was, I don't know if I said he was a dancer, but he was a dancer. And their beginning stages of their relationship was featured on a reality show called Britney and Kevin: Chaotic. And my mom, I didn't watch any of the episodes of this, but my mom did. And when I was talking to her about this, because she's like a super fan of Britney Spears, as am I, runs in the family, runs in the genes. Anyway, my mom said that she loved that reality show and that like, it was just kind of like the Kardashians, and like you just kind of like saw them together. And she said that they were actually a cute couple. I don't really like, I'm not a fan of Kevin, but I'm also really not a fan of any of Britney Spears' like love interests. But allegedly they were cute together on screen, so good for them. Britney Spears said that it's probably the worst thing she's ever done in her career, which is funny. And then in September they get married. So right after her marriage, she releases her first perfume, Curious. And then in October, she took a break to start a family. She took a break from her career to start a family with Kevin. And then in November, a Greatest Hits album was released. So now we're in 2005. Britney is 23 years old. I am just born into this world. I'm not one yet, but like I'm serving with this look. I'm gonna wear this tomorrow again. Just so you guys know, I'm gonna wear this tomorrow. Okay, so 2005. In August, she releases Someday I Will Understand, and she wrote that for her unborn son. And then a month later in September, her first son, Sean, was born. Her first son, Sean, was born. It's like a fucking, like, I literally just can't speak. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I have like a speech impediment or something. So Sean Spears is in the world now. So good for them. When I was doing this research, I was like, damn, like I'm a year older than Britney Spears' son, which is like kind of crazy and kind of like fun and kind of funky and fresh. So hit me up, Sean Spears. Huh? In November, she released her first remix album. So now the clubs are able to play the remix Britney Spears album. So, and then she was also banned from the Oscars in 2005 alongside Paris Hilton and Pamela Anderson. And I found this article from Female First UK, and in the article it said that the organizers didn't want the event to turn into a down market scrum, which is so British. Like, of course I found like this British article that says a down market scrum. Like, what does that even mean? What does that mean at all? Basically, like, they didn't really like, I don't know why like she was banned from the Oscars, because basically like the event organizers just wanted like film industry exclusive people to be there. So like they didn't really want just like regular celebrities that weren't necessarily like film like actors or like film directors to be in it, even though Britney Spears was literally in Crossroads 2002. So I think she deserves an invite to the Oscars because she is a movie star. So now we're in 2006, okay? Britney's 24. And this is when things start to get a little worse for our girl Britney Spears, okay? In February 2006, there were pictures of Britney driving with her son Sean in her lap instead of a car seat, and then all these pictures went viral. So the media is already talking shit about Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, and she's being painted the bad person in that situation. And then we get these images, and then the media is like eating the shit up and being like, oh my god, Britney Spears is a bad mother, Britney Spears is a bad mother, which is kind of sad. Like, you know, obviously, like, yeah, that's not safe, but like, I don't know, I'm just team Britney all the time, so I just like am on her side, but I feel kind of bad. And I'm pretty sure Paris Hilton also might have said that she was an unfit mother, but I couldn't find that anywhere. But I'm pretty sure I like read that, or like some like big celebrity said that she was an unfit mother as well. And then there were things before that I didn't mention because I didn't care about it, where like Britney says that she like grew up Protestant and then she started practicing Jewish Kabbalah with Madonna. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Kabbalah with Madonna. But then in May she says, my baby is my religion. So I just thought that was funny. And then in August she posed nude on the cover of Harper's Bazaar while pregnant. So good for her. Good for her. In November, Britney files for divorce against Kevin and says they were too different, which makes sense because they only knew each other for like 3 months before they got married. And then at this point, they've known each other for like just a little bit over a year. So it's like, obviously you're not gonna like know really about like what the person's like. There was other sources that told Rolling Stone that she only started dating Kevin because he was a backup dancer for Justin Timberlake. So like she only dated him to like spite Justin Timberlake and like make Justin jealous. But I don't really believe that because, like, again, there's just lots of, like, Britney and anti-Britney propaganda out there. So I don't really believe that. But I don't know, maybe that's true. I just thought, wanted to include that. I don't believe that, though. A friend of Britney told Rolling Stone that Kevin often ditched Britney to hang out with his friends, which made Britney feel lonely. So she turned to partying to cope with her sadness. And then apparently like Britney asking Kevin for a divorce blindsided him, so he didn't really see it coming. So Britney's just like lonely, like Kevin's kind of being a shitty husband. And I like, this kind of brings me to like a theory that I have about like why Britney had children so early on in her career, but I think I'll talk about that later when we like get more into like the conservatorship stuff. Also in 2006, Britney appeared on a Will and Grace episode as a closeted lesbian. So that's also kind of fun. And now we're in 2007. Britney is 25, okay? 2007 is an iconic year. Not necessarily because it's like good for Britney, but just like because it's so memorable. And I just have like very vivid memories of like this like kind of stuff happening. So let's get into it. So 2007, in January, Britney's aunt, who she was really close with, died of ovarian cancer. And this sort of led her like down like even more down a spiral that she was always going down towards. Like, did that even make sense at all? I'm just gonna move on from that. You guys know what I mean. Basically, there were also speculations that Britney had postpartum depression and also bipolar disorder, and she would only take her meds on days where she was feeling depressed. Like, she wouldn't take them every day, only on days where she felt kind of sadder. So it also made her more prone to like manic states because she was taking her meds sporadically. And also the fact that Justin Timberlake literally turned the media against her, and just like all this stuff that's happening, like, I don't know. I mean, I would also fall into a depressive spiral if all this shit happened to me at once as well. So she kind of like broke. Britney Spears broke. So in February of 2007, at this point, she's been in the spotlight for 10 years, right? Because in 1997, she got her first record label deal. So now it's 2007, 10 years later, and she stays in a drug rehab facility for less than a day. And then the following night, she goes to a hair salon in LA and she shaves her head. We get the iconic bald Britney. A couple days later, we get this like video of her attacking the paparazzi guy with the umbrella, and she like dents his car, right? And that video, I will say, is like burned into my brain when it happened, because I remember my mom was watching TV 2007. I was like 3 years old, 3 years old. And I remember like sitting on the floor and like looking up at the TV. My mom, who's an avid Britney stan, was watching this video of Britney Spears and like attacking the paparazzi, and just like so much hate towards Britney Spears on the TV. And I remember I was like watching it, and I watched this video for the first time when I was like 2 or 3 years old. And it's also just kind of crazy to watch like the media go from like so anti-Britney in the 2000s, and then now like I feel like when I watched this video, and even like there were some comments from like 2 or 3 years ago, like pretty recent, and they were all like on Britney's side, being like, oh, obviously she broke because all this shit was happening to her. So it's just kind of interesting to see like the progression of like how people were so anti-Britney in like 2007 and like earlier on, and like even later on, and just until like recently. And then now, like if you ask anyone about these videos, like they're gonna be pro Britney Spears. So it's nice that she's getting like positive media about her, but it's also just like crazy how people just do complete 180s. Like it's just insane. But yeah, so that video of her attacking the paparazzi was burned into my brain. And like I would do that too. Like I'm sorry, but like if people were pissing me off and like these paparazzi people were following her around, like that would piss me off. I would hate that. So good for Britney Spears for attacking them, because like I would too. And I feel like I'll get copywritten if I put the video in the YouTube video, but it's in the slides. So go watch the slides one and click on the video and watch it yourself. And then in the following week, she admitted herself to various other treatment facilities. In October, she loses custody of both of her sons, which is really sad. This is also interesting. I didn't know this before I was doing this video, but Britney Spears actually was sued by Louis Vuitton for her 2005 music video for Do Something, because she had like fake Louis Vuitton, like cherry, like paper or something. Like there was like some like fake Louis Vuitton logos in the car. So she got sued, and Louis Vuitton ended up winning. And then because of that, the Do Something music video was banned on all European TV stations, which is interesting, and I didn't know that. So Britney Spears is in the trenches, like Mike says, in the trenches. But then in October, she released Blackout, which is her 5th album. So she's like going through all this like garbage shit, and then she's just like, oh, like new album. Probably because she's being forced into it by people. Like I'm sure she didn't want to record an album, but she released Blackout. And we get bangers like Gimme More and Freak Show, like just so good, so good. Poor Britney for like having to record an album at this time, but like slay of how good the album was, you know what I'm saying? This album won Album of the Year at the 2008 MTV Music Awards, and then was named the 5th best pop album of the decade by the Times. Wow, I got that out. I got there. 5th best pop album of the decade by the Times. In December 2007, Britney starts dating this paparazzi guy, Adnan Galib, which is kind of weird. Like, she obviously hates paparazzi. She just, like, attacked one. And then this guy was, like, a Britney Spears reporter as well. And how they met was basically during Britney's divorce with Kevin, Adnan was selected to photograph her. And then one night she was getting gas, but then had some trouble. So Adnan, like, helped her get gas. And then that was, like, the start of their, like, romantic journey. Which I just think is so weird. Like, and he's such a gross, disgusting guy. Like, just like, look at this picture of him. Like, look at that goatee. I just hate it. I hate looking at him. And then shortly before the conservatorship was put in place, Britney's cousin and former assistant told US Weekly, I don't know him, ... I don't think Adnan is a good person. I think he only has bad intentions. He has always given me a weird feeling and creeped me out. I wish he would just go away. And that is so, like, how I felt. Like, I just don't like looking at him. I don't like him in general. I think he's weird. And I just think it's something, like, so sinister about the fact that, like, Britney Spears would date him. Like, I just think that's weird. And then they ended up breaking up in 2008 after Adnan bought a pregnancy test as a publicity stunt. So she broke up with him. Basically, like, he tipped off the paparazzi where he would be, and then, like, he bought a pregnancy test, and then Britney Spears was like, what the fuck, why would you do that? And then broke up with him. So queen for doing that, but also, like, gross, ew, disgusting men. I hate him so much. And just for that, I'm gonna change the picture. And then in 2007, she also performed at the MTV Music Video Awards, but appears dazed and confused, and overall it just wasn't her best performance. Like, if you watch the video, I think I linked it in the slides of a presentation. I actually don't know, but I will. It's just, like, not, like, up to par with her other performances, right? Because Britney Spears is a performer, right? Capital P. And so then, like, she kind of just, like, seemed confused and, like, out of it, you know? If you guys are avid iCarly fans, you'll remember that there was one episode where Ginger Fox, like, the iCarly gang had to, like, help Ginger Fox with her performance. And that was basically, like, I watched that episode a couple months ago when I was in San Francisco, and I was able to be on a US browser and get US Netflix, so I watched iCarly. Like, Britney Spears is basically Ginger Fox in that episode. It's just kind of like, when she does her performance, it's like she's just kind of not doing a good job and, like, you know, out of it a little bit. So that's obviously about Britney Spears indirectly. I just, like, thought that was interesting. I, like, watched that and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even, like, put two and two together. But anyway, so Britney Spears is channeling Ginger Fox energy in that performance at the VMAs 2007. So now we get into 2008. Okay, Britney is 27 years old. In January, she locks herself in a bathroom with her son Jaden. Did I say this? Jaden was born? And I don't think I wrote it down, but I don't think I said this, but in September 2007, her son Jaden was born, her second son, okay? So now we're in 2008, Britney is 27. So she's committed to a psych ward after locking herself in a bathroom because basically, like, in this, like, January thing, she had a 3-hour standoff with police because she locked her and Jaden, who's her second son, in the bathroom, and she, like, wouldn't come out because she didn't want to give up her kids, which is really sad. Like, I felt so bad for her when I was, like, reading all this. I was like, oh my god, like, no wonder. Like, I don't know. I felt really bad for her, but then she gets admitted to a psych ward, okay? And then she loses all custody and all visitation rights to her children. And then at the end of January, she's taken to a hospital again and put on a mental evaluation hold at the end of January. So she went to a psych ward, like, in the middle of January, and then she was out for, like, a week, I think, and then she went back at the end of January. On February 1st, a Superior Court commissioner placed Britney and her estate under a temporary conservatorship with her dad, Jamie, as, like, the sole conservator. And then a day after she went back to the psych ward, her crusty father, Jamie, was placed her permanent conservator, and she was, like, placed, like, permanently underneath him. February 5th, a restraining order was issued against Sam Lufty, who was a friend of Britney's. So I didn't really, like, put much of him in here because he's, like, kind of irrelevant, but I just thought that this was really interesting. Basically, he was, like, a friend and also ex-manager of Britney Spears, and then, like, he was made manager when she was going through, like, her breakdown. So I think what happened was, like, Sam was kind of, like, power hungry, and he took advantage of Britney Spears while she was, like, going through a mental breakdown, and was like, oh my god, make me your manager, I could do so good for you. And then she made him her manager, and, like, I don't know, he just, like, was kind of weird. And he was kind of a horrible person. Like, he would always yell at everyone and accuse the housekeepers of stealing from Britney Spears. And there's also allegations that the night of that standoff with her son in January that we just talked about, he drugged Britney Spears, took control of her finances, and then also controlled the paparazzi. But I don't know what's true. Like, I couldn't find anything else about that except for this one article. So it's interesting and it's drama, but we don't know if it's true and factual. As we all know, I get fooled very easily from the hologram. Britney Spears invented hologram technology, so I was very careful with my, like, fact checking, and I just couldn't find any evidence about this, and I don't know, I just don't care about him, really, I really don't. So then in July 2008, Britney gets some visitation for her children, but it has to be, like, under supervision. And then in September 2008, she won a couple awards for her song Piece of Me at the MTV Music Video Awards. She won Best Female Video, Best Pop Video, and Video of the Year. So good for her. She kind of needs some awards, some, you know, a little bit more like, you know? And then in 2008, December, her 6th album was released, Circus. And I just think it's very, like, crusty and, like, very suspicious of Jamie to be like, oh, I'm made sole conservator of your life and I'm made in charge of your life because you're mentally ill and, like, unable to take care of yourself and take care of your finances, take care of your children, you know? And then immediately he's like, oh, okay, it's time to record and release a new album and then go on tour. And it's just like, this was December and, like, all this shit was happening, like, a couple months ago. And obviously, like, Britney Spears is still, it's not like she's just healed. So I hate Jamie Spears so much. And this is just, like, part a million of, like, how horrible of a person he is. So it just gets worse from here, though. It really does. But I just feel so bad. Dare I say, though, that Circus by Britney Spears is the best album of Britney Spears. I do think that is my favorite. We just get so many bangers. Like, we get Circus, we get If You Seek Amy, we get, what else do we get? What else do we get? We get Kill the Lights, we get Womanizer, we get Lace and Leather. Like, it's just so good. The album is so good. And I feel bad because, like, Britney Spears is, like, probably forced to write it against her will. But it was a really good album, and it was my favorite Britney Spears album. Ooh. That's how I feel, knowing that that's my favorite album, because I feel bad. But it was really good. The album Circus also made Britney get a world record for youngest female artist to have 5 albums debut at #1. So good for her. I still do feel bad though. But now we're in 2009. Britney's 28 years old. 2009, okay? In March, she went on the Circus starring Britney Spears tour, and it became the 5th highest grossing tour in the world. So good for her. But again, like, why is she just being, like, forced to work like a machine? It's just kind of weird. And then in November, she released another Greatest Hits album. And in 2009 also, the conservatorship was supposed to end, but it was made permanent. So it was only supposed to be made for, like, a year or two. But then the judge just, like, extended it, like, indefinitely. Like, this didn't come out until, like, all the Free Britney stuff was happening, so, like, in 2020. But basically, there were voicemails that were released of Jamie using Britney's visitation rights as leverage to, like, not take the conservatorship to court, because, like, Britney at this time was, like, doing a little bit better for herself. Like, she was, like, trying to get clean, like, going to, like, all these, like, treatment facilities and stuff. And so she wanted to, like, end the conservatorship, but her dad basically threatened and was like, I'm gonna take your visitation rights away if you try to take me to court. Which is just so bad and so, like, mean, and just, like, I feel so bad for Britney Spears. Like, that just sucks, you know? So she was basically forced to stay in this conservatorship, even though she didn't want to at all. So it was not voluntary. So then, that was 2009. Now we're in 2010. Okay, Britney is 29 years old. In May, it was confirmed that she was dating her agent, Jason Trawick, and they ended their professional relationship to focus on their personal one. I don't care. And then in July, she came out with a limited edition clothing line at Candy's. And then also in 2010, she cameoed in Glee, which was iconic and amazing. And I love that episode so much. So I'm going to move this to the sleigh picture of Britney Spears for that. And then also, when she cameoed in Glee, we get this iconic picture. And it's just so funny. It's in the slideshow presentation as well. Like, just like, it's just like so edited. And like, she's like, ah. It's just funny. Like, I just love that photo of Britney Spears. I was gonna print it out, but I ran out of printer ink. So that was 2010. Now we're in 2011. Britney is 30. In March, she releases her 7th album, Femme Fatale, and we get Criminal. Mama, I'm in love with a criminal. Criminal got some backlash, like the music video did, because basically in the music video, Britney is shown using replica guns in London, and it was released like around the same time that the 2011 London riots started happening, which is basically a set of riots that arose due to some like police brutality incidents that were happening in London. I don't really know, like, I didn't do that much research about it, but basically people were like, why would you use guns? And like, I don't know, they just kind of were like, oh, it's like too much of a coincidence. And then Britney's like lover, Jason Trawick, was like, oh, like this like song was written 3 years ago, and like there's no like like correspondence between the two events. Like it's just a music video, it's like fictional, it's fantasy, and it plays with the lyrics that were written like a while ago. So basically nothing really like happened about that. In April, Britney was on a remix of S&M with Rihanna. Slay. That song is also so good. I love me a good S&M by Rihanna. Britney also co-wrote Whiplash from Selena Gomez's album When the Sun Goes Down, which is also iconic, and I love that song Whiplash. And reading this made me go back and listen to When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez in the stream When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez in the Scene. And I went to see Selena Gomez when she was on tour for that album, and it was so good. I saw her like 3 times on tour, and it was amazing. And then, speaking of tour, in June, Britney goes on her Femme Fatale tour until December. Also in August, she received the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award at the MTV Music Video Awards. And I don't even know what that is. Like, I didn't even know that that was an award that you could win. Good for her, but like, what does that mean at all? Like, and then in September, she released a second remix album. So it's party time! So now we're in 2012. Britney is 31. Britney replaces Nicole as a judge on the X Factor. So she's a judge in the year of 2012, that season of X Factor. I think it was like season 2 or something. I don't know. But she became the highest paid judge on a singing competition series ever. But then Katy Perry ended up breaking her record when she became a judge on American Idol. So good for Britney Spears, but at the same time, like, this isn't the first time where she's like broken a record for like the highest paid female something. But it's just like sad because like she doesn't get to use any of her money, like, because she's under the conservatorship right now. So it's like all the money basically goes to Jamie Spears, and he just uses it for his own personal gain, which is annoying and crusty and disgusting and repulsive. Impulsive by Logan Paul. Ew! Why did I reference that? Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Britney. I'm gonna change that to the disgusted look just for me for fucking saying that. That was so bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna like issue a YouTuber apology for that one. That's me right now at myself. And then she appeared on Scream and Shout by will.i.am as well in 2012. And that is my favorite party song. And scream and shout and let it out. We saying, oh, we oh, we oh, we oh. You brown, rockin' with will.i.am and Britney, bitch. And then she also, because of like her collab with will.i.am, she really liked his music style, so she ended up making him executive producer of her album Britney Jean the following year in 2013 in May. So there's a little fun fact for you. In December, Forbes named her music's top earning woman of 2012 with an estimated earnings of $58 million that year. But guess what? All went to Jamie Spears. So that's how I feel about that. In 2013, Britney is 32. In January, her and Jason break up. So Jamie's made her sole conservator because when she was dating Jason, they were like co-conservators. Now they broke up. I don't give a fuck. And then in March, she begins dating David Lucado. They broke up in 2014 because he cheated on her. And I just don't care. I just don't care. I don't care about all these men. All these gross, disgusting men. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Sorry, I want to hear about Britney Spears. I don't want to hear about all these crusty men who just use her for fame. And then in June, oh my god, in June, Britney releases Ooh La La for the Smurfs 2. Oh! You guys, I love this song. I love this song so much. Oh my, baby, don't be shy. I see you rushing in your eyes. My heart beats fast cause I want it all. So baby, come with me and be my ooh la la. I just love that song so much. It's so good. So she releases that. And then in September, she goes on Good Morning America and announced a 2-year concert residency with Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino in Vegas. And this show is called Britney Piece of Me. So a concert residency is basically just like she just had a show in Vegas. Basically, that's what that means. In December, Britney released her 8th album, Britney Jean, and we get Work, Bitch. You want a hot body? You want a Bugatti? You got a Maserati? You better work, bitch. So she was working with her concert residency tour. So thank you, Britney, for that song. And it makes me get up in the morning. Literally, like, at any point when I was writing the script, I was like, oh my god, this is taking me so long. Like, I was just kind of like, oh my god, I just want this to, like, be all written already. whenever I'd like lose motivation, I would listen to Work Bitch, and then it would like get me back into the mood. So thank you, Britney, for that. I'm gonna change this to the Slay Britney Spears. This video is just me forgetting to like change the pictures when I say something, and then like I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, you better work, bitch. Britney Jean was Britney Spears' lowest selling and charting album, but that makes sense because she was already promoting for her concert residency tour in Vegas. So like she's already like putting all of her time and energy into that, and then like to also promote her album, it like probably got a little confusing. So I think that makes sense why it was her lowest charting album. Like I feel like more of the energy was spent promoting her residency tour, but that's just like my, I don't know, my thoughts. And we also get Perfume on this album, which is another good song. I love that song. On this album, there are lots of speculations that the songs on this album aren't her real voice, and that like it's someone like pretending to be her, which I thought was interesting. But that's just like fan speculation. Like nothing has been like confirmed nor denied, but it would again make sense because, sorry, I like have like hiccups right now from my coffee. It would make sense as to like why that wouldn't be her real voice, because she's literally like just went through a psychotic breakdown and is like probably still recovering from that. And then for Jamie Spears to just be like, okay, come on, up and at 'em, get me another album, get me more money. It's just like, oh my God, you're like a horrible person. Like, how about you be a real human being? In 2014, Britney is 33 years old, okay? On January 8th, she won Favorite Pop Artist at the People's Choice Awards. Slay, good for Britney. And then in August, she started recording her new album, and she also announces in August the release of an intimate apparel line called the Intimate Britney Spears. So, good for her. And then in September, she extends her contract for her Vegas show for an additional 2 years, so 4 years total. So she's 1 year into it, and then she extends it for an additional 2 years. So she's doing the concert for 3 more years. In October, she starts dating Charlie Ebersole, and then they break up in June 2015 because they dated for the wrong reasons. Like, wow, I don't care. I don't care at all, but it's her life. This is Britney Spears' key life. It's just not just like events that Leah thinks is important. So let's move on. Now it's 2015. Britney Spears is 34 years old. And in May, we get Pretty Girls by Iggy Azalea and Britney Spears. All around the world, pretty girls, wet the floor with all the boys. Pour a drink, make some noise. Which is so pretty. Like, Iggy Azalea, Pretty Girls featuring Britney Spears featuring Leah Kyle as a little cameo. How about? Maybe. And then they performed it at the 2015 Billboard Music Awards, and Entertainment Weekly said Spears gave one of her most energetic performances in years. So people are like, okay, Britney Spears is like kind of back to being this like iconic pop icon that we all know and love, that we all love her performances and like love her dance moves and everything. So she's starting to like get back into that groove. In November, she appears on Jane the Virgin and dances to Toxic with Gina Rodriguez's character. So that's also fun. Good for her. In 2016, Britney Spears is 35 years old, okay? In May, Britney launches an app called Britney Spears American Dream, which is similar to the Kim Kardashian app where you do tasks to like get more famous. And I was obsessed with like games like this where you would like get more famous, or like it was just like high school like based games. And I remember my family went on a trip to the Dominican Republic, and I was on like a different server, and I was able to play this game. But then when I came back to Canada, it like didn't work. Maybe the game wasn't available in Canada, I don't know. But those like that like couple days where I was playing that game was like amazing. And I was also obsessed with like High School Story. But oh my God, you guys don't care about this, but when I was playing High School Story, real ones know, I was 3 levels away from beating the game. I literally dedicated like 4 years of my life to that game. And then my phone updated like my game center or something, and all my progress was gone. So I never got to finish it. So I'm a little salty about that, but we move on. We live, we learn, and we forget. 2016, she also performs a mashup of her songs at the Billboard Music Awards and gets a Billboard Millennium Award. So slay. In July, she comes out with Make Me featuring G-Eazy. And it's like an okay song, but it's very like 2016, like what you would imagine music to be like in 2016. Like that's what it is kind of like. And then in August, she releases her 9th album, Glory, which is okay. Like a little controversial, but it was probably my least favorite Britney album. I just like didn't really like it as much as like I love her other albums. Like Slumber Party is a fun song, but overall it just doesn't really compare to her other albums, like as iconic as her other ones were, I must say. And then she also performs at the MTV Music Video Awards in 2016, which was the first time since 2007 when she gave that like Ginger Fox performance that wasn't that good. And then in October, she's on the cover of Marie Clark UK, and she revealed in the publication that she had crippling anxiety in the past and motherhood helped her overcome it. She said, "My boys don't care if everything isn't perfect. They don't judge me." And then in November, she starts working on her 10th album. So this sort of like brings me to my theory that Britney Spears rushed her relationship with Kevin Federline because she wanted a family, because like the media was so horrible to her. Her dad was so horrible to her. Like, you know, she didn't really have any like real family because like all her family were like, oh, you have to like bring in the money, you know? And so I feel like she rushed her relationship with Kevin in order to have children. But that's just my theory. Like that's just like what I think happened. So then she was kind of like eager to become a mom for that like sense of security. But again, like that's just my like theory. Like it has not been confirmed at all. So do not take my word on that. And Britney Spears, if you're watching this, I love you. Now we're in 2017. Britney Spears is 36. On the set of the Slumber Party music video, Britney Spears meets Sam Asghari, who plays her love interest, and they begin dating in January. And they're still together to this day, allegedly. More on that later. At the People's Choice Awards in 2017, she wins Favorite Pop Artist, Female Artist, Social Media Celebrity, and Comedic Collaboration for a skit she did on Ellen. Slay. She's like getting back into her Slay era. In March, she announces her concert residency will be performed as a world tour in some Asian cities. And this is like kind of insane and just proves the power that Britney Spears had. So in April, the Israeli Labor Party announced that it will reschedule their July election one day. So they delayed it one day to avoid conflict with Britney Spears' concert due to safety concerns in Tel Aviv. Like, the power that Britney Spears has to delay a country's election is crazy. Like, that's just like crazy and good for her. And she is so slay and pop princess vibes. I love Britney Spears. And then in April, Britney also becomes the first receiver of the Icon Award at the Radio Disney Music Awards, which is fun. And then New Year's Eve 2017, Britney performs her last show in Vegas as part of her concert residency contract that is like ending at the end of the year. So she performs her last show New Year's Eve. And it set a new box office record for a single show and brought in $1.1 million and aired on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve to a record audience of 26 million people. And the record about the box office was previously held by J-Lo. So good for Britney Spears. She's breaking these records left and right. And then 2018, Britney Spears is 37. In January, she releases her 24th perfume, Sunset Fantasy. And I remember my mom had this perfume because she only uses Britney Spears perfume. So she had Curious and she also had Sunset Fantasy. And I loved the Sunset Fantasy perfume so much. I would steal it from my mom all the time. Like every day before, like how old was I? 2018, I was in like 8th grade. I would steal it all the time from my mom.